Sorry.
Daniel, if I close one eye, your head is right between these pieces of bread, and that means I just made an idiot sandwich.
You bolted, and the only person you hugged was Terrence. What did you whisper to him?
I whispered, I have a gift underneath your pillow.
And what is it, may I ask?
I love my cat of Murray's hair wax.
Okay.
He doesn't need it, and we have a little joke about it. So,
yes, it's a great joke here on Big Brother 24, Week 5 Eviction on this Thursday evening, August 11th, 2022. I'm Dave Mader, joined with Jaemeel Robinson here on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or you might be listening to us on the audio version. Jaemeel, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great now that some trash has been removed from the Big Brother house.
Yes, this was quite the eviction tonight. Some great speeches. The Leftovers Alliance is starting to sort of be found out, but it doesn't really matter because the other side is very much not functioning quite as a unit. Terrence is trying to rally the troops, but it's all for naught, it seems, at the moment. But we go into the jury phase here as Daniel is evicted by a vote of, I think it was 8-1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you are correct.
8-1. The one vote to save him is Terrence. Here, it's all for naught. Some justice here, perhaps even the most for Taylor in this house. And Julie was confronting him a lot about his treatment of Taylor.
Well, I'm here to confirm that, yes, the 7 people you suspected are indeed working together,
Cool.
and they call themselves the Leftovers. Now,
I love that.
They
I
started
love that.
to form just after you lashed out at Taylor in the main bathroom.
All right.
And they did so because they felt like the low men and women on the totem pole, and they also wanted to unite against what they saw as the unfair treatment of Taylor in the house.
Okay.
Does hearing any of this surprise you? What is your reaction to hearing?
No, I respect that. It makes me happy that people can come together at the moments like that. As a fan, I think it's great. I can't wait to watch it back and support them. I mean, I love this show, and
What is he talking about, Jaemeel?
Full of shit.
I love it. As a fan, I love that they came together to rally against me, the villain. I was the thing.
Obviously, talked to him. It feels like production talked to him.
Yeah.
Taylor's trying to manipulate and capitalize in this moment while Nicole's in a vulnerable state.
Right.
You can right off. You don't think America's watching all that? Just stop. From this point on, just stop.
With the Lays?
From here on out, do not speak to me.
But it's all come together here. So he was like, "No, I love it. I love it. I can't wait to see how this is all going to play out and what I didn't know." You think that's what production said to him, Jaemeel? Was like, "Listen, like, there's a lot you don't see, and like your perception is not the complete reality, and so that's kind of the experience of going through the house. Don't worry about it. Eventually, you'll come to terms with how you experience things in the house and what was the true reality of it." Or is Daniel just clueless from the get, Jaemeel, and never really going to come around and sort of take this as a learning experience? Does he leave this house a different man than the one he entered as?
Still the same dirtbag.
I would tend to agree, Jaemeel. He was not a fan of the twerking either in this episode. I don't know if you were catching some of that. There was some big things happening. Yeah, here it is. It's called twerking, Jaemeel.
Oh Lord. It's called twerking, is it? Okay.
Did she
Did she
Did
twerk right? Is what you're asking me?
Well, I just want to know your opinion.
That was not twerking.
I've seen like some real twerking on Jerry Springer. This is not.
She attempted to twerk. She failed.
Yeah, this was imitation twerk, I would say. Not even like the good kind. This is like the cheap knockoff imitation twerk.
She tried. This is where you give her the cake. At least you tried.
Right. Daniel, he's not religious anymore, but you always like feel like that this guy is like, I don't know, the pastor's like daughter, he's a guy. He just is like, oh gosh, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, he's.
Well, there's a girl on the bathroom floor, and even Terrence is like, what the hell is happening in my life here right
We're
now?
talking about how it's dirty. That isn't dirty. Look at that. That's not a dirty floor.
That's not, well, like all floors are dirty in a sense, but yes, it's no dirtier than probably their kitchen floor.
Very true. Very true. I think that the bathroom technically would be cleaner because people clean the bathroom more than they clean the kitchen.
Yeah, probably. As you're always.
Well, you're just like, no, we do the reverse. We clean the kitchen so often.
It's weird to me that the bathroom's such a hangout in the house, but there's always people kind of lounging here and having chat. People, wash their hands, come and have a chat by the sink.
All right. Sorry, I seem a little distracted because.
Are you following this HOH competition?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, well that's a fair and noble pursuit. You don't have to hide such things.
But here's the thing, Dave.
Yeah,
I don't need to follow it anymore.
Okay. It's over.
Yes.
It's already over.
Yes.
Well, it was. Oh, actually, probably it's been over for hours. Who knows? Okay.
No, actually, it just finished.
So this was live.
It was live. So
yeah,
the West Coast hasn't seen the episode yet.
Oh, okay, but though, it's like 7:45. We're in the West Coast.
Yep. So in about 2 hours, no, an hour and change, they're going to be watching the episode, and it's like, watch the live feeds. The results are already there on the internet. If you go on the internet, it's there.
Did you like the production design of this competition? This HOH
it looks
competition?
Terrible. This looks lazy. I know we often are kind of used to the seemingly insane amount of production that Big Brother Canada does. Big Brother Canada, almost to a fault, a little bit too much,
a little overcompensation, maybe.
Yes, this looks like a diorama that like a person in grade 10 or 10th grade for you folks did. I'm like, where's the, and then when they did the chemtrails, I'm like, it looks so ridiculous. And I'm like, hopefully there's going to be more than just like
the tinfoil hat. What about that? Is that?
I think that's a nice touch. I would have thought they would have got a little bit,
Can you throw the hat away, or do you have to wear the hat?
I think you could throw it away.
I would throw it away. I find this thing was distracting.
It'd be distracting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take away from my mental concentration. So I would want to not wear it if possible.
Okay. So I'm not going to talk about who won. I want to talk about this episode.
Yeah.
So after the twerking, we got into, or I guess during the twerking, I should say, I mentioned it during the spoilers yesterday. Cidergate.
Yeah, Cidergate. I didn't get any sound clips from Cidergate, but yeah, Cidergate was definitely thinking here. Yeah, Joseph definitely snuck a peek here on this twerking. Just for the record, I have captured video evidence.
Would you not watch?
I'm not saying I'm not. He was trying to get away with it. It was caught on camera and it was shown on the episode, and I'm just documenting the event.
Okay.
Yes, Cidergate.
Yeah. It's not a big deal. It wasn't a big deal. But Indy was making it such a big deal. Unfortunately, we didn't get two things that I really wanted from this whole event. And that is when Taylor was like, it's the Cidergate. It's the cider, when she was like trying to hashtag it. There was no response saying, don't make it a thing. That's one. And two, I unfortunately did not get Jasmine telling Indy to relax. It's not a big deal.
Jasmine's one to talk.
I know
it's a muffin, Indy.
That's why I wanted this in the episode, but I thought this was fun.
So there was a little riff here on Muffin Gate, but it seems to like sort of end here with like a direct confrontation between Alyssa and Indy again back in the bathroom, and like Alyssa was kind of a different person. A lot of people are saying everybody knows it's you, Alyssa. You know,
she's the one who's like obviously
twerking on the floor.
She's like, shh, it's a secret.
I twerk on the floor every day. I don't need a couple ciders in me.
Oh my gosh, it's like you're telling on yourself.
Yeah. Terrence always seems to be in the bathroom here to like just watch conversations take place. I think this is one of the places he likes to
that's where everyone is.
Yeah.
Right?
This is where he goes a lot.
That is exactly where everyone is. So that's where you want to be. You want to be where the people are.
Yeah. Turner was very he was very happy here with Alyssa. He's like, you could be the cider hider.
Cider hider.
I didn't get the clip, but
I'm the muffin murderer.
I'm the muffin murderer. I thought that I don't think that's the moniker you want to go with, Turner. So
they try to brand themselves outside of the house, right? I'm gonna murder this muffin. Right.
Well, like the murder, maybe the murder. Sorry, no, not the murder. Maybe the muffin mayhem or something. Like there's other terms. If you got to be alliterative and you got to like go for the double M here, an M&M, if you will. Maybe it's the M&M Muffin Man. I don't know. Muffin Man. What's wrong with just Muffin Man? Why does he have to be a murderer?
Copyrighted. You can't do that.
All Muffin Men are copywritten.
I'm pretty sure.
Why can't there be like a new Muffin Man or like a different type of? Can he be like a blueberry Muffin Man or whatever kind of muffins they were?
And it's harder to brand that specifically to your muffin brand. Right?
Jasmine muffins, maybe we'll call them.
Let's see. Let's see. Muffin. Your muffin maestro, right?
The muffin, yeah, like something that's more like sneaky and like you're getting away with something. But it was like more like he murdered the muffin and now he's like trying to get away with it, right? So, I guess he's not. It's not like he stole it. He didn't eat it, so it's kind of a murder.
The muff burglar.
The muff burglar?
But I don't think you want to
use that right either. No, I don't know if we want to go hashtag muff burglar or hashtag anything with muff and him is not going to go over well long term.
Oh my
God. Muffin is the in is important. It's keep the in muffin and let's not get off the deep end here.
Yeah.
Okay, and so after that whole stuff with like Cidergate, there was also everything here to do with like Alyssa and Kyle's showmans, nomads. What is going on? They're on again. They're off again. They're starting. Alyssa can't quite figure out what the heck is going on here. She's not feeling too good about it overall. This might have contributed to her twerking and stealing of cider, becoming the cider hider, if you will.
Is this true that Kyle wouldn't want to save me? Is our relationship even real in this house? Am I just part of his game? Does he really like see me in a romantic way? Or am I just someone to pass the time with and to play the other side of the house? There's so many thoughts going on in my head right now, and I'm just so confused.
So it's different time periods. So Cider Gate happened days before, and a lot of the Daniel push and revelations to Alyssa happened more on Wednesday, right? So it was like at the 9th hour. So that's why it was never mentioned in spoilers. It's not like I was holding out on you folks. It's because it didn't actually come up until more recently.
Okay, so Jimmy, I'll just clarify one thing for me here. There's Alyssa has two conversations in the episode, kind of in the moments after all these events, right?
Yeah.
First one is here with Kyle, where she's like, I don't know if I'm with Kyle, and Kyle kind of says, oh, maybe we should like put some distance between us, and he kind of like softly breaks up with her here, right?
Does he really break up with her though?
Well, not quite. But
I think one of the main problems, especially with Kyle, is he gets away with not really communicating exactly what he's saying. So it could be left up open to interpretation. So Daniel's conversations with Kyle, even though Daniel misrepresented parts of it, but Kyle was never explicit in terms of what he meant, right? And this is another perfect example of not being explicit in what you meant. He wasn't breaking up with her. He was saying, I'm on the block. Maybe we should put some distance between each other so that I'm less of a target. We already saw in later parts of the episode when they talk about showmances and how it's not one vote, but two, always an agreement, right? It makes sense to give the impression that there is a little bit of, wiggle room, right? If people don't believe there's wiggle room, then it's more likely they're going to say, we need to split them up, right? Or it's a reason to split them up and get rid of Kyle. So the unfortunate part is he does not do a good job of expressing that information. And obviously, Alyssa is left dangling in the wind to come up with their own conclusions, which, as we see with later conversations, doesn't really do a good job of cementing Kyle and Alyssa's relationship.
The other conversation I was alluding to was Kyle and Alyssa. No, Daniel. I'm sorry, Daniel and Alyssa. So does this happen after the conversation with Kyle and Alyssa that I showed before, where he kind of is like, maybe we should not hang out until Thursday or something like that?
Yes. Yeah.
So these are in chronological order.
I believe so, because Kyle did have a conversation with Turner, and my remembrance is that when he did that, he walked in Alyssa, and Alyssa was crying, and he wasn't quite sure why Alyssa was crying, right? And supposedly Alyssa was crying because Daniel spoke to her and gave her some news, right? And then we later found out what that news was. Right, so it could be slightly out of order in terms of Turner's conversation, Alyssa's conversation with Daniel, right, and then Turner's conversation with Kyle. Now, right. I don't know where I can't remember where Alyssa's conversation with Kyle fits in that timeline.
Yeah, but she was kind of like, okay, wait, what was your assessment of Alyssa as she was getting this information from Daniel, and that, maybe like her and Kyle are not ride and dies to the end. Kyle's telling us in his diary rooms, well, I wanted to get her as far as possible, but I'm not going to pin my entire game to Alyssa. Like, this is not like a Cody and Jessica kind of a thing here, Jaemeel, in Kyle's mind, right? This is not, Alyssa maybe wants it to be more, but she's frustrated by it. And I don't know if this is going to work out. But they're in the jury phase together here, so we're going to see. Yeah.
It's the right play technically for Kyle, given the thought process. Like, I feel like he can still do work to mend this type of situation, because the other side of the house really screwed up his plans. It's not like he wanted to get rid of Alyssa. The other side of the house wanted to get rid of Alyssa, right? And he wanted to take her off, right? If we're all remembering correctly. And then the conversation was to have them keep the nominations the same, so that Nicole, a shot can be taken. I'm misremembering who was on the thing originally. It was Indy and Alyssa, right?
No. This week.
No, who was on the block last week?
Oh yeah, it was Indy and Alyssa. Yeah.
Yes, and then they were taken off.
Right.
So the other side of the house wanted to take Alyssa off, but Kyle wanted to take her down. Kyle thankfully
Kyle felt guilty and was feeling like he might have to, and Alyssa was expecting it, because it was going to be because
he kept promising her that he would take her off. Then they won, and then all of a sudden, right, they changed their minds. Right, well, the other side of the house, the leftovers changed their mind and said, we're pushing to have the nominations changed, or we want the nominations to stay the same, right? And then spoke to Daniel about it, and then Daniel changed his mind and use the power of veto, and that's how Nicole went out, right? So Kyle
Pretty much.
always wanted the nominations to change and want to save Alyssa. He was convinced by the leftovers that he would have to lose Alyssa, even though he didn't want to.
Right. And
Right?
she was also pressuring him with some feminine wiles.
It's like the hottest thing ever when someone takes you off the block. Are you kidding me? I wanted to kiss him right then and there.
Lord.
Things are very different here a week later.
I think once again, I think that if when Kyle is finally able to position himself for the rest of the game, I think he'll be able to kind of bridge that gap and explain things. She might not necessarily trust him as much, but I think she might still partner with him at the very least. Because where else is she going to go? I say this prior to the news that we learned at the end of the episode, which we'll talk about.
Well, that depends at what point in the game we're talking about. Like, if the numbers dwindle down and like her and Indy are in this together, like that's 2 votes and maybe they can do something, even if it's not good.
But she's kind of already cold on Indy already. Like,
But I'm just saying, like, there's a chance that she might, who knows, never write anybody off yet, but it's not looking great.
Okay, I don't want to talk about the twist that was mentioned at the end of the episode.
We'll get to the twist. We'll get to the new twist because I think that's a lot to unpack. Let's just talk about this, the actual vote here, the speeches. In particular, let's talk about Daniel's speech to appeal for votes. You have one last chance to appeal for votes. Daniel, you're up.
Daniel, you're up first.
House guests, please vote to evict me. I'd rather hang out with Nicole and Paloma than any one of you bozos here today. This place is a circus, and you're all a bunch of clowns. It's time to wake up and realize Michael has 5 competitions under his belt. I'm going to repeat that for you guys. Michael has 5 competitions under his belt, and he will win this season if you don't go after him next. A smart super fan like Michael knows, a strong competitor like Monty on the block, you don't change that, nominees, unless you're working together. Figure it out. If you want me to go do your dirty work, vote to save me or vote to evict me. And in about 10 minutes, this season just got boring. Back to you, Julie.
Thank you, Daniel.
Dave, I have feelings about this. You know why I have feelings about this? Because it's not a bad speech. My issue is when he knows he's going home, that's when he says the speech. I am honestly so tired of people not using their speeches for things like this when there's still gameplay that they can maneuver. And what we end up with Kyle is, I don't know how to follow this up. I like to thank my family, house guests. I like you all. You like me. I can help you with your game. I'm not going to be specific though. And I hope you keep me,
pretty safe and boring.
I'm like, that's so garbage. I need some fire.
But you can't fault him as the player. Kyle has to play it safe here. As long as he plays it cool, Daniel's gonna get evicted here. That's his best bet.
I'm not done in terms of like my opinion about safe, right? Even in the goodbye messages we'll get to. But let me go back to in terms of Daniel's whole thing when he's laying about and talking himself up, talking about how he needs people to play with, and these people are sheep and they don't know how to play for
They're
themselves.
no Paloma. They're
right?
they can't even hold a candle to Paloma.
He is just so snowed. It's ridiculous. And him thinking in his brain that this Dan, there's gonna be a new BB legend. It's going to be another Dan. No, you're going to be the Dan who's an asshole. You're going to be the Dan who's not good, right? Which Dan are you talking about?
You don't think America's watching all that?
You don't think America's watching all this? You can F right off.
It's like, who's Dan? Oh, Dan Giesling. Oh, he's the Dan that doesn't suck.
Is this the Dan that does suck?
He's the Dan that sucks, right? He's the Dan that sucks. You suck, Dan. Right.
Yeah. His speech would have been. Yeah, I agree. It's like it's a good, but it's just a big middle finger on the way out.
Yeah.
And even Julie says, like, after he gets evicted here, like, why did you do that, right? And I definitely do have that one, I think. Memento here. What were you trying to?
Why? Was it personal or was it strategic?
That was the Taylor response.
Well, I'm here to confirm that, yes, the 7 people.
It's this.
Does hearing any of this surprise you? What is your reaction to hearing?
No, I respect that. It makes me happy that people.
Sorry, I thought I definitely. There's a few different. What did you whisper? What was it, strategic or not with Columbia? But yeah, it was a big middle finger on the way out. This speech. He only hugs Terrence on the way out. You know, whispering something about Shino Balo or something. Whatever the joke is. It was not explained to us.
Terrence is the absolute most useless person in this game. Absolute most useless person in this game.
What do you mean,
right?
Showtime?
Honestly, I think Nicole still has more viability in this game than Terrence does.
What about Jasmine?
Jasmine is more of a threat than Terrence.
Jasmine is more of a threat than Terrence.
Yes.
Jasmine is more of a threat than Terrence.
Yes. I can't. Who's taking Terrence seriously?
Who's taking Jasmine seriously?
More than people still talk to Jasmine. Like now, the other side of the house, they don't even bother with Terrence because he's such a It's not even a rat floater. It's just a plain rat.
It's just this guy who's kind of out of his depth. He's like, I guess I'm going to try to play this. And is it too late for Terrence?
Yes. Well, once again, we'll talk about the twist. But the issue is, he should be bonding with people in the house. When it became a finality that Daniel was going, he stopped hanging out with everyone else and just spent all of his time hanging out with Daniel.
Well, that's a bad strategy.
Oh, yes. The person that's not going to be in jury, the person who's not going to have any impact for the rest of this game, it's all about strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but is it worth getting out Terrence early in the early jury phase, or will he hang around here for a little longer? You think, like long term? Is he important enough to evict?
He is completely inconsequential. Only to he's only going to be a barrier for one person, and that one person is Taylor.
So, like they might keep him around for a while.
Yeah. Well, what is he going to do?
Is he the new Victoria?
He's Indy might be the new Victoria. Terrence is Gen City. Completely irrelevant. That's his lasting mark on Big Brother. Irrelevant. Right?
Yeah. Can we talk about these goodbye messages? Just like that there was some interesting ones here.
Daniel, if I close one eye, your head is right between these pieces of bread, and that means I just made an idiot sandwich. Daniel, you nominated me, you berated my girl Taylor, and you used the veto that backdoored your best friend. I'd say good game, but I'd be lying. Bye, Daniel.
Daniel, I think you are very passionate, loyal, and I respect that on so many levels, and I think that's why we got along so well. Outside this house, I hope we're going to be friends forever. Love you and have a great summer.
Wait, hold
Daniel,
on.
Daniel. I've been
Can you
playing
pause?
you, bro, this entire time.
I can
I
pause.
formulated...
Hold on. Jasmine's message wasn't that. It cut I swear that was like some hard copy Simpsons, kind of editing. I hope we're gonna be best friends forever. It's like, no, that's not what you said, CBS. I hear you. You think
that was they wanted they were gonna completely bury Daniel. Like, look, somebody likes him. It's Jasmine, the one who's obsessed with muffins, but she can stand Daniel. Yeah. Right. Okay. So how do I resume the clip? Can I resume the clip?
The leftover alliance with 7 people.
So good.
You think there's a bunch of sheep in the house, but the sheep is you, bro. Peace.
Hey, Daniel, we went to war together, brother. We really tried to make it happen. You're definitely one of the closest people I had in the house. It's your boy forever, and I mean that. always remember
I
that.
love him.
Daniel, dude, I love you, man. I know you can be a very emotional and protective person, which can be a double-edged sword, but I think your intentions always come from a good place. I'm really
Joseph,
going to
he
miss our
jury.
jokes and phrases, but he'll always be remembered.
He's not in
Daniel,
jury.
I've never been happier to see somebody walk their sorry ass out that door. Oh, and I guess your wish will come true. You don't have to speak to me until finale night.
That's so good.
Is she joking?
so
What
good.
are
I
your
love
final
it.
thoughts?
I think it's both. There's some truth in that, and I respect
It ain't-
it. Like
she ain't
all of it's real,
joking.
and I will speak to her on finale. Absolutely, yeah.
She ain't joking.
She was not joking. She got the last laugh here. There's a great story to this season, I think, so far, and we'll see where the rest of it goes. But I think if you even just talk about this first half of the game, the pre-jury phase, and that what starts with Paloma, and then when ends here and starts with with Daniel's HOH, is bookended here by Daniel's eviction. Right, and it's all been centered around Taylor, and what this leftovers alliance was kind of created out of what Daniel and even Jasmine's HOH reigns both sort of like set as a tone in the house, and how that was sort of like changed and how that evolved over these like 5 weeks. It's been really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Comment here from Mary. She's saying, "I don't like the thing that Terrence says about Taylor. How would he feel if someone said those things about his daughter?" What did he say about Taylor, that she wasn't? He didn't like something about her, that she wasn't a sister or something like that.
Mary probably has more information on that. Terrence has been talking trash with Daniel about Taylor again. Terrence talking about how Taylor isn't a sister has been discussed on BB Reddit and BB Twitter. Terrence, I like people have tried to try to detail why Terrence would say that type of thing. Why would he have an issue with Taylor in the first place?
Yeah, seems odd.
Well, it could be that Taylor is in lived a different life than Terrence is used to, and he's resentful. It could be that Taylor, as a darker Black woman, is being mistreated and maligned like many other in the past. It's a thing, Dave. You might not know, but the way darker women are treated is different, and it's been consistent in terms of individuals who are lighter Black skinned women, right? And that's been something
I'm vaguely aware of this in general, but
Yes.
I don't have a lot of.
It's
experience.
unfortunately a thing, and it's pretty stupid.
Colorism, is that the term?
Yes.
That's what I thought I've learned a new term this year.
Yeah.
Colorism, yeah, and it could be, yeah. Well, that's too bad, because you think like that they would get along, and you see like there's sometimes embraces between some of the cast members, and they seem to be getting along. But then there's obviously some resentment behind the scenes.
So once again, as I mentioned during the eviction speech, yes. And stuff, yes. Yep.
Well, like Taylor's very bouncy. She's always kind of like, dancing and moving around. And
but he ain't saying that stuff about Taylor, though. No, about Alyssa, who's humping the floor there.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's like, I'm telling you, if Indy did anything, if Alyssa did anything, it'd be totally disregarded. But the moment that Taylor put on a bikini, and it's not like it was like some super racy bikini, right? All of a sudden she's flaunting, right?
Is this could this be, I'm just speculating here, because I saw this interview the other night on the Daily Show where it was this senator from South Carolina, and he was like, the Black community is a conservative community, and could Taylor's bikini and some of her more flirtations be in Terrence's mind against his conservative nature?
I'm not gonna,
if he has one.
I'm not going to talk for the Black community as a whole. I feel like parts of the Black community, right, especially the Black male population, especially those in specific sections of the world are more attuned to this. In the United States, I should say. There's it's ripe with misogyny, right?
Right. Mhm.
And colorism does play a factor in that misogyny and how it plays out. It's not equally distributed as we've seen. So there's a lot of self-hate that is there in the community, like people always bad talking other people, where they would treat, let's say, as Alyssa and Indy, if they did that, it's totally fine. But Taylor should be maligned for doing the exact same thing, right?
Well, it's obviously a double standard, and obviously is a problem, and something that you can't really. Unfortunately, a lot of the times you can't really solve these kinds of issues and things unless you do have a discussion about them and try to like learn and move past it. Because I think a lot of times when people realize they're doing harm to somebody through their behavior or through an attitude, I think you can change that. Sometimes it's just from pressure from like the world or whatever, but
the unfortunate part is, if there's no pressure, these things can't really be confronted, because the person who is getting this mistreatment, if they we'll talk about this in a second. Let me just finish this thought. I was lost my thought.
Sorry, didn't the mistreatment,
the pressure,
yeah, pressure.
right? If the pressure isn't there, it's the person who's being mistreated complaining about the situation, and they're like, oh, she's overreacting, or oh, it wasn't like that, right? So quickly going back to what I was talking about in terms of the speeches, the expectation, and Taylor said this to the group, is that she didn't want people to pussyfoot around Daniel in terms of the goodbye messaging, right? If you said you saw something, you say it, you tell him about it, right? Don't let him get away. So we saw Joseph, we saw Kyle, right?
Yeah.
I don't expect that much from Jasmine. I don't expect that much from Terrence, because both of them have proven themselves to be foolish, right? But all we saw was Michael and Taylor say something to Daniel in terms of negativity. We didn't see what Brittany said. Turner kind of was just he said it during his vote, but we never really saw what he said. I want to see all the eviction messages, goodbye messages, and I hope that there's a little bit more teeth, because it's well deserved. Right? I know Daniel's going to get it outside the house when he hits the talk show circuit, but
Right.
I expected a little bit more from the people in the house, especially those with the people that said they had Taylor's back. There was a little bit too much jury management for a person who's not even going to be in the jury. It was ridiculous.
With Daniel.
With how they were treating Daniel. Like Joseph, like treating him like he has like a say in the final parts of it.
Because you saw Joseph's not in the big alliance. He's a deer in the headlights as far as like people like Jasmine are concerned.
So dumb. What was Mary's message? Sorry, Mary.
Oh yeah, so just bring that back up here.
They were talking about Taylor touching Daniel's bag. Well, I am from Miami, so it's a little different there. Touching people, like touching their bag.
Like I think she picked up the bag and gave it to him on the way out of the house. Here, I might have an image of that. Give me a sec.
No, but I thought he picked up his bag.
Yeah, he does pick up the bag. You're right.
He picks up his bag. I think it's in general that she might have touched his bag or picked up his bag or something like that. And they probably went into Taylor bashing once ago. The nerve of her touching your stuff.
She does. Well, I don't have an image of it here, but she does have like a great shot here of waving to Daniel on the way out of the house.
Of course, you want to say bye, bitch. Bye.
There's no tears there for Daniel's departure.
So you're a great proponent for a live audience. I wanted a live audience to boo
me
this
too.
man. I wanted them to boo this man.
This would have been a very different vibe, yeah, if he had got booed out here. And how do you think the house guests would have reacted to that? Because they already kind of knew. They already kind of knew Daniel. I don't think they he wasn't necessarily always the easiest to live with.
I think if both Nicole and Daniel got booed, I think they would feel they would like, wait a second. But if it was just Daniel, they'll just be like, well, he called everyone clowns. They'll rationalize it however they
especially after his speech, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would say, well, there's a speech, and we're like that. Sometimes, like, maybe it's a good thing that there's no audience, but sometimes, like, house guests will even read into that kind of stuff too much, so, right? Because you know what happened to Christine and how that maybe shaped the rest of Big Brother 16, or I guess was Aaron the first on Big Brother 15 really to get like the huge boos on the way out? Because that's when I first started watching, and that's when I was truly hooked. I think a good boo is what I live for in Big Brother all the way out. Like, just like that was some lousy behavior.
Well, even the boos weren't that loud though. Like, there was more laughing at her answers.
Mary saying, yeah, they didn't want her to touch nothing than him, and then they both started bashing her again. So that was Terrence and Daniel again.
It's just like, come on, man.
Yeah, disappointing. What else? But I think like I'm here for Taylor. I think that she got and I think Daniel was just laughing like an insane person.
He's just playing it off because it's like he finds the whole situation humorous.
Yeah,
but to me, that just underscores how he's totally like he doesn't even understand the amount of hurt, right? And Terrence is gonna get it on his way out too. Like, Black community ain't happy with Terrence in terms of what he's been saying and been portraying, and he's gonna get it too.
I did like this question too, especially.
Why? Was it personal or was it strategic?
It was both.
It was both.
It's the exact same thing Nicole said. Like, producers talk to them. They've been prepped. Prepped.
It was both, and as prepped as you can be, but I think psychologically it's going to be tough. Now, guys, or Jaemeel, just after the interview's over and they all get called in here, right? All the house guests they gather in the living room somewhat quickly, except for one person. You know who?
Of course,
old Jasmine.
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were gonna mention something else.
No,
just before this happened.
What happened?
You might have missed it. Taylor was there eating her Lay's chips, but no logo was sticking out. It was on the opposite side. And then when Julie started talking, she like put it away behind her.
Oh, I don't think I had that. No, sorry. I could go get it.
Working on a product placement.
But okay, like this injury with Jasmine, it's going on too long. Like, if she just took a couple Advil every day for like the week, right? The swelling would go down, the healing would start. I don't think she's doing a ton of physical exertion on this ankle on a day-to-day basis, right? Like, she should at least be trying to move around on it a little bit. I'm no doctor, but just as somebody who's had ankle injuries, or like a lot of people in life have. I don't. She's the first out of this competition tonight too, Jaemeel. Again, like, it's just. What do you think about Jasmine?
People should learn how to fall. Is my first remark.
Right.
The way she fell off of that thing, folks, don't fall like that. Don't jump off of things like you need to pay attention when you fall, right? And that's my first comment. 2, I assume she went to the bathroom. And that's why she was, that's why it took so long. But
I see. Oh, you mean when she was called to the living room here?
yeah,
It was
because
quick bathroom break.
there's a period of time between when the eviction happens, you're walking around, and it's a commercial break, and plus they do the interviews. It could be 5 or 6 minutes. She's like, "Oh, I still had time. Go to the bathroom quickly."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Jaemeel, we need to talk about before just the results of this HOH competition. I know we're getting into the spoilers and everything else there. First of all, Julie's dress tonight. I was a fan.
Yes.
Good
Okay.
look.
Simplicity cannot be lost. Okay. I think it was a nice, elegant, and simple outfit. I think my color grading on my TV needs to be torqued a little bit because it seems more peach than pink, but that's just that.
Well, yeah, somebody said pink. So I think it was it Indy or somebody was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you look very pink."
Do you agree? Peach. It gives a peaches vibe more than pink.
Yeah, it was like it's a peachy pink.
Okay.
I don't know how to nail it down exactly. Good cut. She was looking good tonight. Julie Chen, and as always, well, not always. Sometimes the dress isn't good. But that's why we're gonna talk about this twist that she announced at this part of the show, guys. So after this, are we gonna play because they announced the Festy Bestie thing's over. Okay, great. Now, we're going to play an individual game again. Okay, fine. And we're now into the jury phase. Okay, great. But we're going to play 1 week, just normal Big Brother. And then we're going to go into this split, the new twist, which is they get split into 2 groups. And there's going to be 2 parallel camps of Big Brother. So right now there are 11 people left. So they would have to have it as even. You would have to get somebody out first, right? So I think that's accurate. So this week will be a standard week. Whoever wins this wall comp is the HOH. 2 nominees presumably go up. There's a veto, just like we normally do. But next week, there's maybe 2 HOHs and 2 groups of 5, basically. Is maybe where it goes.
So
I don't.
It's Taylor, Jasmine, Turner, Terrence, Kyle, Joseph, Monty. Okay, Alyssa, I'm missing. Brittany, Indy.
Don't forget Michael.
So yeah, Taylor, Jasmine, Turner, Terrence, Kyle, Joseph, Monty, Michael, Brittany, Indy, Alyssa. Right? That's all the people remaining on the show.
It's all these people, yeah. Taylor, Terrence,
9, 10,
Joseph, Kyle. Who's this?
When? That's Indy, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, Indy. It's with these hats on. It's hard to. No, Indy's over here.
So that's Brittany.
Oh, it's Brittany. Monty, Turner.
Okay, so that means 11 people.
Yeah, 11 people at this point. Yes, are still left.
Yeah. So we'll have an HOH, and then we'll have 1 person voted out. That will leave it at 10 people. You split it up in 5, right? So that means you have 1 HOH.
2 HOHs.
No, well, 1 HOH, 2 people on the block, right? And that means there's 2 people voting in each group. Because it's going to be 5 and 5.
Because there's 2 nominees in each group.
Yes. So there's an HOH, 2 nominees, 2 people voting per side.
And the HOH would break the tie. And they said that these 2 sides are going to be completely sequestered from one another.
Correct.
What do you think? What's your reaction to this?
I saw something like this on Big Brother, not Australia.
Jeff would be so excited if it was Australia.
But it might have been Big Brother Australia, another one, earlier one, where they actually had 2 sides of the house where they were completely separated. But they did that at the beginning of the game, and then they combined them after 2 weeks. Right? I do not like this at all. I do not like this. I don't even, and I mean, I don't like this from, if you did this earlier in the game, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. But now, only 2 people, and
the HOHs respectively if there's a tie.
Here's the thing. Power of veto. If one of the 2 people who are voting wins power of veto, that means automatically the other person has to go on the block.
Yeah, if they take them down.
If they take someone down.
Right.
That's like a Final Five situation.
Yeah, it's basically
What?
creating two Final Fives.
Why? Why?
I don't know. They think we're bored and we need some crazy final, or it's training them for when it is Final Five later on in the game. To think about it then.
I guess, but okay, whoever wins HOH this week, who I do know, right? You're gonna have whoever moved from the game. Chances are, right, that due to the numbers in terms of the alliances, that the leftovers have the power, even if they don't win HOH, right? So, unless the people, whoever is HOH on the other side in the convenience store, they pick two leftover people repeatedly, then another person from the other side is going to be gone.
Well, okay, but just hear me out here too. If a man is evicted this next week in week 6, then we will have 5 women and 5 men, right? In the game?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah.
So what's to say the producers will say, well, we're going to split the women and the men up here, and they're each going to have, there's going to be a woman HOH and a man HOH. And
if they split the women and the men, Taylor's going home.
Yeah, for sure.
How is she going to survive?
No, she won't. Well, she if she's the HOH.
Even if she, the only way she would survive is if she's the HOH or she wins veto.
Right. Well, there's 2 competitions. You got a chance, a 1 in 5 chance each time.
So if it's all the women together, it is Brittany and
Indy
Taylor
and Jasmine and
Alyssa and Indy.
Alyssa. You're right. Now they might do it that way. I wouldn't put it past them.
So, if you're a guy, wouldn't you be pissed off though?
Potentially,
if it's all guys, because if it's Terrence versus Monty, Michael, Joseph, Turner, and Kyle.
Well, in any group of 5, you're gonna have somebody who's outmatched potentially.
What if Turner gets out this week, and then it's only the leftover guys going against each other?
Yeah.
When you know.
She agrees about Jasmine too. Christmas leg healed faster. It was broken. I agree. There was more of a recovery. There was an arc of that season, and this was just a sprain.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. If they do it along the gender lines, then and Terrence leaves, then it's leftovers are over.
Right, but so it will be interesting to see how this next week plays out, and if the leftovers are still a thing by the end of next week, right? And if they're going to try to still work both sides of this split, because we've seen this in Survivor before, where a majority alliance gets split up into this kind of 2. We're going to have 2 tribals tonight, and there's going to be 2 groups, and the winning group from the competition will get to eat pizza under the stars while they watch you guys vote the next person out, or something like that.
But unless they have another house, how are they going to separate the 2 groups?
They're gonna have to build a different house, or they're gonna have to put some kind of a divider in the house.
Put little paint lines and some plexiglass.
Well, they gotta unless they're maybe they've built a whole new other house somewhere that people are gonna be able to go to.
But this, I don't know. It just seems so. We'll see in a couple weeks, but I am interested in that the episode right after the double eviction, and when they come back together and they're like, what did you do? Right.
But this is kind of like a double eviction in a sorts. It's like a reinterpretation of the double eviction, where you have 2 people evicted, but it's done in two parallel games.
Yeah. Michael has to be gone, I assume. If they do it, that's the best chance you get. Only 2 votes to evict him. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, like can you still see Michael going the distance here? Does he have too big of a target? I think he's slippery. I think this is gonna be a hard guy to get out.
I think he's going to be a hard guy to get out, but because of that, he's going to be gone due to this twist.
Potentially, if you're ever going to take him out, maybe this is the best time. Or a double eviction is, of course, the other great time to get him out.
But at the same time, Monty, I think the target's so big on Michael. But you're right, Mary. You're right, Mary. He's a lock for All Stars, though. Like next All Stars, he's like from the season, definitely.
Oh, I watched my first episode of The Challenge tonight, by the way.
Oh, Sam. You hear this, Sam?
If Sam's listening, I watched The Challenge, Sam.
And
first time ever. It's interesting. Of course, I know a lot of these people. I had Kyland on there, from last season. And who else was like Alyssa? Last year's Alyssa was there. Alyssa 23, not Alyssa 24.
Derek X going to give it to you.
Derek X, David. Remember David, like from a couple of years ago, like who got evicted first, and then he came back as All Stars as like
All-Star
the greatest.
David. Yeah,
he was the All-Star first boot. That was like how he was built.
He's no Jody. Jody.
He had a good night tonight on the challenge. Spoilers for the challenge, but so it's like weird watching Big Brother in Survivor, and I guess there's Amazing Race people, and some other show is there too. So I don't know everybody. They all wear
Love
Under
Island,
Armour.
I think. Love Island.
Yeah, Love Island's there. They all wear like Under Armour gear all the time. That's like their whole thing. And what's his name? Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Tyson? Tyson. Yeah.
He's surely joking.
Yeah, I got some Tyson quotes.
How is this guy still alive?
Coconut bandits for life.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not joking. Maybe he really believes that he is the structural engineer.
Anyway, he's the biggest dick on the challenge. He's so cocky, and he has got like no humility.
But that's Tyson, though.
I know. Well, like when he's not in a Survivor edit, it's a little bit of a different Tyson.
Tyson has the right to be cocky, I think.
Yeah.
Because he's nothing to prove.
No, he's dominating the season, and and by the way, Enzo was very weak. He's on this season too.
The Meow Meow?
Meow Meow's there. He sucks. He's afraid of heights. Couldn't even. It was like the lamest episode of Fear Factor you ever saw with Enzo on the challenge tonight.
I would love to see Tyson on Big Brother because I think that he would he would be the villain that we deserve.
Tyson?
Yeah.
Not Tyson.
Tyson on Big Brother.
You want to see him on Big Brother instead of Survivor? Sorry, I get you now. Yeah, well, I think Big Brother's too easy for Tyson.
Too easy, I love it.
Yeah, I think that he's a Survivor guy. Like, don't try to mix those worlds too much. Because I think Tyson's just kind of good at whatever he does.
He is. He's ridiculous. Yeah,
it would be like it's like when they put Paul into Big Brother like 19 after he played 18 and he was the only vet and he just dominated that season. Like I think that's like putting Tyson into Big Brother. Even with vets, I think it would not be good necessarily.
Mentally manipulate these people.
Isn't Real World the real rules? Old people too right.
So I'm not up to. Well, I shouldn't even say up to. Real World and Road Rules was never really like a thing for me. Because I never did MTV. We had the much superior Much Music. But
in Quebec, I had Music Plus.
Music Plus.
Yes.
But yeah, I believe they also have had Real World and Road Rules people too. I think it's a special year for Real World as well, like an anniversary year. That thing needs to get back, or if it is going on, I need to give it another try. Give it another try, Real World.
Yeah.
So yeah.
On that, where were we? Okay, so just like wrapping up this episode tonight. Maybe we can get to the spoilers because it's all about the HOH. Who's this next HOH heading into like this next phase, this next back half of the game? Right, the leftovers are sort of starting to unravel. We're starting to see that happening, And I'm curious to see which side, if you know, at the moment gets power and how that will sort of be interpreted. So if you don't want to know, get out of here. We'll be back Sunday to cover the episode of the TV show, as well as Wednesday and Thursday next week as week 6 gets going here. And now that we are headed into the day 38 through, I guess it would be 46. So of the Big Brother 24 game. But on that note, let's get to our spoiler talk. And that's right. Spoilers are a go here. Spoilers ahoy.
Okay, so let me try to get the order in which people were eliminated off of it. So obviously,
Jasmine we know was number 1.
Jasmine was number 1 in terms of falling off. They did they did have more stuff like mulch and like slime.
Right, that they threw at them. They usually like blow them with a wind machine and different things happen here.
Yeah.
But I knew Jasmine was going out here first. That was no surprise. Whether we saw that on the actual episode itself. Okay, who was second out? Do we know?
Okay, so
or maybe you might have to just.
Brittany fell.
Brittany's not the winner. Okay.
Yeah. Then Terrence.
Then Terrence. Okay.
Yep. Let's see. Let's see. Some of them. Blue group. Let's see. Monty falls just before Monty yells, "I want to go to war." Let's see. Taylor tried to make a deal. Let's see. Joseph and Kyle are yapping back and forth and saying some inappropriate things. Taylor has to remind them about the feeds, and they shut up. Alyssa falls.
Okay, one sec here. I'm just.
You're going through it in your head.
I'm going through. Sorry. I'm trying, and I'm also going to change up my thickness here. Okay, so we know. That's too thick. Okay, so Jasmine's gone first, then
Brittany,
and then Terrence. Okay,
then Terrence. Right.
Who's left?
And then Monty falls. Remember, he wants to go to war.
Monty's going to war. Okay.
Yeah.
Monty's gone.
Yep. And then Alyssa falls. Okay.
Alyssa.
So right now, I believe it's Indy, Turner, Kyle,
and
Joseph,
and Joseph and Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. They had Pink Slop, then Indy fell.
Indy's out. Oh, I wanted an Indy HOH next. Okay, so that leaves the final 4. They're all leftovers.
Yeah. Taylor, Joseph, Kyle.
Taylor, Joseph, Kyle, and Turner.
Yeah. And then Turner falls.
Oh, that's a actually. Turner, I thought would be like the strongest of the guys here because he's the smallest frame. Normally, the smallest, shortest types tend to do best on this. So, if I had to give odds to anybody, I'd probably give it to Taylor to win this of the 3 who's left.
Then next, it's Joseph falls, so it's Kyle and
Taylor. Now, I think a Taylor HOH would be a great thing here. Will Kyle give her that?
Kyle falls. Our new HOH is Taylor.
Falls. Wow. And just so you can, where is this? Where'd that picture go?
7 bags of chips.
Where did that go? Sorry. 7 bags of chips. Lays all week.
Yes.
Oh, I need like a clip here we need something in celebration of Taylor winning the HOH here. I think you know which one we need.
Just stop. From this point on, just stop.
With the Lays?
You're gonna have to pull a Yas Queen for Sunday. Just prepare. I'm just telling you right now. You need to pull a Yas Queen line.
From her?
No, from anywhere.
Just anywhere?
Queen. Yas Queen.
Okay, just remind me.
I will.
And tell me where I can get one.
I will.
Okay, that would be helpful. What is this? August the 11th, right? Yeah, sorry.
Taylor also shouting out that she wants some Janet Jackson music.
Yeah, sorry. It took me ever. I was like crossing people off as I was going there. I was like, I want to show you what I did while we were talking. I put a little. I did that in Paint as we were leaving only there. So, okay, let's talk about this potential now. Taylor HOH. She's close with Michael and Brittany, so
Yeah.
I think she's likely going to go with their lead more than anything here. I think with like people like Nicole and Daniel gone, it's I think less obvious who her target should be. Like she could go after Terrence here, sure. Why not? But is that really the thing to do? I think getting Jasmine out is probably the best thing Taylor could do for her game. If she had to name a target of this house at this point.
If it was just a straight revenge tour, the people that she should put up is Jasmine and Terrence. But
yeah. What you don't want? You don't want to give a Jasmine a chance to win the veto? Do we have to backdoor Jasmine?
Wouldn't you rather her compete in the veto rather than someone else? Because they could win and take her down. What happens if Alyssa or Indy win the veto and then take her down? That's two less people you can potentially put up.
Well, they can't both win the veto. So if let's say if she puts up Jasmine and Terrence and Indy wins the veto and takes down Jasmine, then you put up Alyssa.
I know, but she doesn't want Alyssa gone. She has a decent relationship with Alyssa, although reading Jokers, they're saying that Taylor and Brittany were celebrating in the storage room. Brittany says Jasmine, Indy, Alyssa were completely silent when Taylor won.
Like, I don't see a benefit of putting up an ally as a pawn here when you have enough people.
I'm not saying that's the move to make. I'm just talking through the situation of yes, Queen, yes. I'm just saying that you have to talk through the things. The hope is that's a physical challenge, right? For the veto competition. You'd want Jasmine to compete because that's one less person that can, potentially win it, right?
I guess so. Yeah. Like I think, but I think you can also like sort of overthink it, and I think just like put up the obvious people. If one takes themselves down, or is it really worth it to Indy to like save Jasmine? Like, I guess, but like,
that's
even
gonna
if
be
she won
the only
veto.
game the only move Indy does for this entire game.
Right. When I saved Jasmine from the block, that was my big move in the game, and like that's why I should win Big Brother.
Yeah, that's literally what you would say. Final two message.
Okay,
I made good relationship with people in game.
Nobody's taking Terrence off the block. Nobody.
He's like, you could just see his message at the end of Sunday's episode. DJ Showtime's found himself on the block, and the veto. I still have an opportunity to take myself on the veto. I still got one more track to play.
Oh yeah,
your boy DJ Showtime got a remix for this, and we're gonna let that play.
Lord, so lame.
DJ Showtime always has a couple of tricks up his sleeve.
Irrelevant Gen City.
Or she puts up like Terrence and Indy or something like that, and then maybe Jasmine's the renom. But
you putting up Indy's going to be such a pain in the butt because Indy has a crush on Joseph, and Joseph and Taylor are really close, and Indy hates that.
Okay, well, fair enough.
So if you put up Indy, it's just gonna.
Please. I've been through a lot in my life already. I don't want to do this.
That's what she'll say.
The most miserable have not of Big Brother history.
She's not,
I'm gonna cry.
No, you'll be okay.
I'm going to cry.
I love horses. I love gold. Gold's my favorite color. And I'm trying to get my degree to become a sex coach.
So let's see. Joseph says to Taylor, "You are the ringleader now." Kyle says he wants to say about Dan, another outburst from a 35-year-old child cosplayer.
Yeah.
Joseph says Big Brother would have given him a $10,000 check to say that if he actually did say that.
Who said that to him?
What? No, Joseph said that to Kyle. He's like, Big Brother would have given you a 10,000 check if you actually did say that.
Right. Yeah. Like here's a bonus. Here's a on your stipend just for a great moment of television all time.
And then Terrence, in his ultimate two-faced self, says he always fought for Taylor. Right?
Is it possible he believes his own bullshit?
I definitely believe that he believes his own bullshit.
All right. Well, then he's not necessarily a bad person. He's just kind of a
full of shit.
Yeah. Just kind of like, I don't know, whatever is going to get people to like me in this moment, I'll say. Yeah. Some people are like that. And like, it's not that they're bad people. It's just that they're just kind of like, they just kind of agree with everything. And they don't really necessarily think about what they're talking about objectively. It's kind of it's a bigger issue of a more widespread problem.
Okay. So further illustrating that people don't know what's going on, or some people, Indy's talking to Kyle and asked Kyle if they made a deal. Kyle says no. Indy thought that Kyle and Taylor did. Kyle says he was just trying to hang on and didn't think of a deal. Kyle says, do you think Monty will go up? Indy says if Taylor does not put up Monty, they're working together. Like the fact that it's still a question.
Right? Like, who cares if they know they're working together? Like that, like it's like if you're the leftovers, like you don't like almost. I know it's almost like a jinx to say you're working together, but like they have the numbers at this point. Like the other side of the house is small,
but it's good they never admitted anything because due to this stupid ass twist,
which they don't know is coming either,
they don't know is coming. Like mum's the word until this twist is over.
So I think that the twist like could be a good equalizer just to kind of make this less of a runaway game potentially for this leftovers alliance. Like, it might be a real, like, it might be the end of Michael's game, or it might be the end of Taylor's game. And if it is, is that, I don't know. How do we feel about that?
Yes. It's a bad thing for me, dude.
It's a tragedy.
I'm finally getting some leeway in this game. It's been a rough reality year for me. Okay. All right. Let me have this.
Well, like I think that like Jeff didn't even show up for the podcast tonight. I think just because his team is completely like he had like the third and fourth evicted here. His team, Nicole and Daniel, terrible. Like I have Monty. I'm not doing much better. I had Amira, but
who would have thought after week one that I would still have both my people in this game?
Yeah, you were all mad because Taylor was being bullied. She was gonna be the first boot of the game, and this was gonna be a terrible year for your drafts. And then here she is, the week 6 HOH.
Yep, she has a HOH,
and you got Alyssa, who I think is could be somebody who squeaks through for a while here. I don't think is necessarily the top of anyone's eviction list. And after you get out, you knock out Jasmine out of this game, like Alyssa, who cares? Or even Indy, get one more of them out so that that side can't really rally anything. Leave Terrence,
unless Kyle pivots and goes with goes with Alyssa, and they take on the other side of the house. We'll see.
Now, Jane would want to know what we think of her team. She drafted Turner first overall. There was a lot of maligning in the draft at the time, Jaemeel. And she ends up with Kyle as the last pick as well. That was a pretty good last pick. It was Amanda. Amanda could have had Kyle, but she picked Terrence.
I think he picked the right one. I think she picked the right one.
Because you look at who was at the bottom of the draft. It was like Amira, Nicole, Jasmine, Indy, Paloma, Alyssa, Terrence. You know, only like Pooch was the only one who sort of was irrelevant that got drifted high. Anyway, and your team, Taylor and Alyssa, looking good. Team Amanda, Joseph, and Terrence. And she only has Joseph because that was supposed to be Marvin Atchie. If we had had that guy, Marvin Atchie, how would the season have been different?
One, I don't think Marvin would have. I think he wouldn't have been as on board with the Taylor bashing, honestly.
Right. I can't imagine. Right.
Yes. They're like, she's walking around there. Look at her flaunting stuff. What do you do? And then he goes. He starts
Just rips off the shirt. They should bring him in to like host a competition or something. If that's even allowed. Maybe, maybe it's not.
How can they talk about Taylor flaunting anything when he's going to be like, I'm a stripper engineer.
I am a stripper chemical engineer.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oof. Very specific. Okay. Now that we've gone back to Marvin Atchie. Remember him from like 6 weeks ago? Okay, so any more spoilers, Jaemeel?
That's it. Right.
Okay. Thank you for that report. Thanks for being with us tonight, everybody, and listening to our thoughts on this week 5 eviction, our recap and analysis. We'll be back Sunday. What's that date? I guess it's August 13th, right? No, 14th. August 14th. We're going to be back to talk about the week 6 HOH. We'll see the result of that competition. We'll see Taylor's nominations. We'll see the veto next Wednesday, August 17th, and the week from tonight, August 18th, the week 6 eviction. Before we head into this split twist, which Jaemeel doesn't like, he's on the record as saying he does not like it. Will he like it in the future? You'll have to fast forward to our podcast in the future if you're watching this in the distant future, to find out what he thought, what he thinks. Did he change his mind or not? Did I? I don't know yet. But we're gonna find out, guys. Will Jeff Mader be back? We think so.
He's like, no, this is over. He's like tearing down a poster in his.
We're like, this was the moment when Jeff was out forever. That we didn't know it. It was on this August 11th. You should check out our other channels, including here on Super Mader's Buzz Podcasting, which we do things like, of course, Big Brother and Survivor and other TV shows and movies we've got really excited about. Over on Live Long and Podcast, it's a Star Trek themed channel where we've been talking about all kinds of TV and movies for years now. We've been doing rewatches of Star Trek, the original series, and currently in production, we're doing Star Trek Deep Space Nine at 9, rewatch on Tuesdays, on Monday nights, Star Trek Enterprise rewatch with Jody Simpson, going through episode by episode, rating them, talking about them. We do a similar thing with the newest episodes that come out this year. We've been talking about Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Prodigy and Star Trek Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Lower Decks season 3, ready to get kicked off in just about 2 weeks. And then there'll be a whole new Discovery season 5 after that. We got Picard season 3 in the near future. Prodigy still needs to finish out technically their first season. So lots going on in the Star Trek universe. Also, Star Trek Radio Theater, an ongoing radio play series where we reenact Star Trek episodes. Some funny voices in there. If you want to check that out, I highly recommend it. And coming up in the very near future, we have our next edition of a show called Trivial Debates. It's another channel we have where we argue about movies, TV, sports, and more. There's a game show format. There's a host. There's 3 people who compete, and they all argue about what's going to happen. It's a great time. We do this once a month, usually on the last Sunday. This one's going to be on August 21st, 2022. It's a little because we're Jeff Mader, my brother here. He's getting married on the 27th, so we don't want to have a Trivial Debates the morning after a wedding. That would be poor form. So
no, do it live.
Do it live. Do it.
Everyone's hungover. It'd be perfect.
Yeah. The sports question, Jaemeel, is what's the best sport that involves a table?
Table baseball. That's Jody's answer.
Jody hates baseball.
I know.
So,
table. It's obviously going to be poker.
I think it's foosball.
Foosball. not like pool or
maybe table hockey.
Table tennis.
Table tennis. I think all these are better than which one you said?
I said poker.
Poker's it's like the worst one for. That's like saying a board game is the best game involving a table. It's gotta be a sport. Poker's not a sport.
Poker is a sport.
How is poker a sport?
How is gymnastics a sport?
Gymnastics is athletic.
So
anyway, we got this coming up. This is what you could expect on a trivial debate. So that's just arguing. But
I changed my answer. Pro wrestling. There you go.
Well, it involves tables.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it is.
That's
it is
Chris Seymour's answer. I'm guaranteeing you, people, go and watch this episode. I guarantee you, Chris Seymour is gonna say pro wrestling. He's gonna mention tables, and then he's gonna mumble the rest of his responses, and he's gonna lose the point.
Well, this episode being hosted by Chris Murphy, along with and he's hosted once before. We'll see. He's never met Chris. He's never talked to Chris, so he doesn't really know what to expect here. So this will be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Tell him to do his research.
I think you should do some research on Chris Seymour before the episode. We also have Davin Scalehorn and Jody Simpson competing on this one. Speaking of Davin Scalehorn, he's got his own channel called Locutors a Trek. He's my cousin and yours probably. He's got a Star Trek one, Locutors, and X-Rated, the X-Men animated series review show. He does every Tuesday with his buddy Andre there. We just talked about with them. I was on that last one we did on Tuesday. It was the Flight of the Phoenix, part of the Phoenix saga in season 3 of X-Men the animated series. You should definitely check that out if you like X-Men. They interviewed like Lenore Zahn not long ago, the voice of Rogue. They talked to Erica and Julia Leewald, the creators of the series. So they've had some really cool things over there, and I highly recommend X-Rated. Also check out my son's podcast, Let's Talk About Fighting Games. He does under his alias Sam Jerka. If you don't see the Mader name, it's okay. Don't be alarmed. It's under the Jerka alias. And you can also check out the Hellbound podcast. Alex Blackbird and Michael Chan. Sometimes I interchange their last names there when I'm doing the outro. A horror themed podcast every Wednesday. They do some real fun stuff over there if you like horror and all that kind of stuff. All right. Thanks for being with us. Another week of Big Brother in the books, and I'll play you out here as we head into the jury phase of the game. Thanks for being with us. Thank you, Jaemeel, and we'll see. And thanks to everyone in the comments, including Mary. Picard got canceled.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. That the show got canceled after they announced what they were going to do with season 3. They're like, nah.
No, well, season 2 was bad. Objectively bad, in my opinion. So I'd be okay if they're going to just completely scrap that and never air it. That'd be something. All right. Well, we'll head out here, and we'll see you next time. All right. Oh, I think this should be this one.
Well, I'm here to confirm that, yes, the 7 people you suspected are indeed working together, and they call themselves the Leftovers. Now,
I love that.
They started to form just after you lashed out at Taylor in the main bathroom.
All right.
And they did so because they felt like the low men and women on the totem pole, and they also wanted to unite against what they saw as the unfair treatment of Taylor in the house.
Okay.
Does hearing any of this surprise you? What is your reaction to hearing?
No, I respect that. It makes me happy that people can come together at the moments like that. As a fan, I think it's great. I can't wait to watch it back and support them. I mean, I love this show.